Welcome to the Somewhat Underrated Podcast, where everything in the podcast seems somewhat bigger than it actually is. I'm going to be here with Tib, Turner, and
Hello.
Scott.
What's up, guys?
My name is Tyler, and we've got an exciting podcast for you today. We're going to be talking about
We haven't
games
even
we've been up
recorded it
to.
yet. How do we know that?
Well, that is true. We don't know if it's
We
good
have
or
an
not.
agenda.
It may be crap, and you guys may turn it off about halfway through.
Man, I'm talking about something completely different.
Yeah, that is true.
It's happened before.
But the first subject we're going to get started with is games we've been playing. Scott, you got any games you've been playing this week?
I have been playing a lot of SimCity 2000.
See,
I was talking with Tib about that earlier. All this talk about
Yeah, we had a
SimCity
discussion.
5 that has been going on lately, I had a little bit of nostalgia going on, so I figured out how to get SimCity 2000 running on DOSBox, and I've been playing that nonstop. So there you go.
yeah. I wish I was playing SimCity 2000. But then again, I remember actually playing SimCity 2000 when I had no clue how to actually... I figured it out. I played SimCity 2000 for like an hour or two when I was maybe... I don't know how long ago it was, but it seemed like I was really young. And when I started playing, I zoned out a bunch of residents. I made an airport. I made the mayor's office, I think. And I couldn't get anyone to move in. And now playing the new SimCity, I think I figured out that I didn't have the game actually playing. I think I just had it paused the entire time. I'm not really sure.
You're just building things and nothing was going on.
And the game was just like, well, when are you going to start? And
Yeah.
I guess I never did.
No, I had that same
That's
problem.
my only...
Yeah, I had that same problem growing up because SimCity 2000 came preloaded on the first desktop computer I ever had. I think it was Windows 95. Might have been Windows 3.1, but I think it was Windows 95. But I distinctly remember having lots of fun just building police stations, fire stations, schools, roads, railroad tracks. And then it's like, well, how do you get the buildings to go up in the zones and stuff? How do you get residential, commercial, and industrial? So I didn't actually figure it out for like 2 or 3 years. There's quite a learning curve because at that time, preloaded game on your computer, no real internet to speak of in 95, really. So it's like, well, either you figure it out yourself or you don't play the game. So
You
quite
didn't have
a learning
wikis
curve.
back then.
I had more fun with Zoo Tycoon and Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Oh my
I
gosh,
love
Roller
Roller
Coaster
Coaster
Tycoon
Tycoon.
was such a good game.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that game. I played it so long.
See, I had the same problem with those games that I do with the game now, is that I get to a certain point where I make everything I want to, and then I'm like, I don't want to play this game anymore. I've done everything, and my city's just slowly losing money, and just, everyone's moving out, and I'm deleting houses, and I'm just like, I don't want to play this game anymore. Then I go make a new city.
I should have had the
That's,
foresight to save the best city that I did in SimCity 2000 on my old computer. I guess this would have been when I was 12. I want to say 12 years old. But anyway, my population was in the millions. I had at least 100 arcologies throughout the map, and the majority industry was aerospace. Literally half the map was an airport. It was glorious.
Oh, jeez.
Half your industry was aerospace.
Well, not half. Half the actual map space was airport, but economically speaking, I think it was like 30% of the city. But
Wow, could you imagine that? Like, just a whole city made out of mostly runways.
yeah, it's called Atlanta.
That would be crazy.
You ever
Yeah,
been
it's
to
like-
Atlanta's airport? Ugh,
No,
No,
you don't want to be.
Never been.
terrible.
I know it's like I know it's a big hub of airports, but I've never been.
I think
to
it's
it.
Delta that's stationed there.
Yeah,
never take a layover flight in Atlanta.
That times
They're
1,000.
they're
Ugh.
never on time.
the only big airports I've been to, I think, were Dallas and Chicago, and that was it was really weird when I went to PAX on the West Coast. I went from my flight there was with my dad and my sister, and we went to Chicago first. And Chicago's airport, one, I don't consider I've ever been to Chicago because I've just been to the airport, but Chicago's airport has this great pizza that has buttered crust. I just thought I'd bring that up for anyone that happens to go to Chicago's airport, because it is quite amazing. And so I took that, and we landed there, and then I went to Seattle. But on the way back, somehow our flights got messed up, and my sister and my dad went back through Chicago to Raleigh, and I went from Seattle to Dallas to Raleigh. And so it was very odd. And this is the first time I've ever flown, huge distances. I went to Florida one time, and Dallas's airport is very odd. It's like this giant circle, and I think my flight landed in one end of the airport, and I had to go to the other end. And this is like my first time ever being there. I about missed my flight. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, the longest flight I've ever taken was from JFK in New York to Budapest, Hungary, nonstop. That was about a 14-hour flight. Might have been 12, but it was overnight.
Yeah, that's long.
It was overnight. It was terrible. We left at like 6 p.m. Eastern time in New York, and we arrived at, I think, 8 a.m. Hungary. I didn't sleep at all on the flight because there was this old couple sitting in front of me who were fighting with each other for literally 8 straight hours during the night, and the flight attendants refused to shut them up. They were literally shouting at each other. And
were they Hungarian and like yelling?
No, they were American. Trust me.
Okay.
If there were more Hungarians on the flight, they probably would have slapped the crap out of them. But here's the other thing. Like, they were directly in front of me, and I had an aisle seat, and the one in front of me was the old man in the couple. So I would stretch my legs out, one leg kind of underneath the seat, making sure not to touch any part of the seat. And my left leg, this was on the right side of the plane, my left leg kind of scooted out into the aisle next to his seat, not bothering anyone, right? Well, apparently it bothered this man a ton, because every time that I would do that, he would stomp on my foot. And I just looked at him and I was like, you can't be serious. So
he would stomp on your foot?
He would stomp on my foot. That happened about 3 or 4 times, and I gave up. It's like...
Would he say something? Because that seems like a really, really rude way to let
very
someone know
passive-aggressive way to tell
space.
somebody that they don't like what you're doing.
I guess
that's
they
full
just don't
aggressive
care.
way.
Well, that's
I
the
wouldn't say
thing,
that's
though. You would think he
passive-aggressive.
would say something.
Yeah. But,
He didn't even give you a look or anything?
Nope.
Just give
Never
you, like, a
turned
mean
around.
Look?
Just kept
Yeah?
on shouting at his
Wow.
wife. And she kept shouting at him for 8 hours on a transatlantic flight overnight. That first stay in Hungary
Yeah, I
was
think
not
the
pleasant.
longest flight I've been on was from Pittsburgh to California and back. That was probably, we were in the air about 4 hours. So that's the longest I've been on.
That's not too bad.
It was
Yeah,
a
I
nonstop.
can imagine one of those trips from like the United States to like New Zealand or something like that, where you're literally in the air for like half a day or something.
Yeah,
Oh, it's more
that's-
than
Or
half
a
a
full
day. It's like
Well, I just
close to
couldn't do it.
24 hours, I think.
One thing I really like, and I've like with transportation wise, is I really like trains. I used to do a lot of. My grandmother lives not far away from the Amtrak station in DC, and so she would, to go see my grandmother, sometimes I would take the train up, and she would pick me up, and then I would ride the train back, and that has always been a pleasant experience. I've loved the trains. Wish they were a little faster, but trains have always been nice.
Yeah, same here.
I've never been on a train.
You've never been on a train?
Really?
Nope,
Not
I've never
once.
taken a train anywhere.
Well,
Not once.
Have you ever ridden a train like in a tourist context?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
like a little one.
You were scaring me there for a
Nothing
second.
like. Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Nothing
I mean,
like to go somewhere.
I'm not a fan of Amtrak. I think Amtrak kind of sucks as a service, but I am a fan of traveling by
Yeah.
train. I know that kind of doesn't make sense, but if you've traveled by rail, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But
they're not the best, but they're like the only ones there for me. So
yeah, they're pretty
gotta
much the
take
only
it.
people who do interstate commercial, or excuse me, passenger transportation by rail. But yeah,
No,
I
I was,
mean,
uh,
I was contemplating taking the train up to Boston for PAX East, but my friend
Mm-hmm.
that I'm going with didn't want to do that, so we're going to be taking my car all the way from Virginia.
yeah. Oh God, I was gonna say,
Oh,
that
man.
would actually be a way that I might go if I was gonna go to PAX East, which I'm not going to, but you guys are. So
Yeah.
we'll have to. Talk
I'm actually
about that in a
driving up
bit.
as well.
You're driving up. How far is
Yep,
that?
I'm
trip?
driving up. It's about 9 hours, 9 or 10 hours.
Ooh, that's a
Yeah, that's not
That's
going to be
actually,
as
you
bad
know
as
what?
us.
being some of the more international people are gonna laugh at this, but I'm really bad at geography, being an American. And I didn't think, because I'm might be going to PlayOnCon, and I was looking at the distance from where I live in Raleigh to Birmingham, Alabama, where it's held, and it's like 8 hours. I For some reason I expected to be a lot smaller of a trip for some reason. I guess I farther north than I expected I was.
Yeah.
8 hours is a hell of a car ride.
Yeah,
Sure
So
is.
geography can be
You'll have
really
to tell me how
deceptive
that is.
sometimes.
But speaking of PAX East, you guys are going, and we were talking about this a little bit before the podcast. But what are you guys looking forward to?
I think I'm looking forward to. It's my first time ever going to one, so I've been looking at the schedule, trying to figure out what I want to see. There's a lot of Minecraft events I think I'll go see. It's really the only thing I see that's interesting to me. But there's a lot of indie stuff going on as well. I'm really big into indie games to see what's going on and try to support that side of the community. So I'm hoping to see some pretty cool indie things coming out.
Yeah, I know PAX East does a really cool thing PAX in general, is they do a really cool thing where they give a booth to community or community indie games that get voted on, or I think they win. I think it's like the PAX 10. I think that's what it's called.
Yeah,
At least when I went, there
Mm-hmm.
were. That's what it was. And they get the same amount of booth space as like EA and Bethesda and these big time developers. So you see these guys that have like 2 TVs and they're like, "Come play our games," and they have just as much space to like hang out and do all this stuff as these big name developers, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, the thing that
Um,
I'm looking forward to most is this is my first gaming convention. The only convention experience that I have comes from going to the Washington Auto Show a couple times. That's actually a really cool experience. I highly suggest going if you're in the DC area in the winter months. But yeah, I'm like I said earlier, going with a friend. We're going to be driving up. We're staying at the Sheridan. And we're probably just we haven't really planned anything out yet. I'm sure we're gonna look at the schedule in the week before, but I think we were both just kind of planning on wandering around. Now, his video gaming tastes are a little bit different than mine, so we're probably gonna be competing for which places we want to go to. I'm probably going to be sticking more to the Minecraft and the first-person shooter stuff and all that kind of stuff, but he's more into MMOs and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. And
yeah, I
plus,
never got real
I'm
big
looking
into
forward
MMO.
to meeting a lot of the people from the Minecraft community. I know there's a lot of guys that are going to be
Yeah,
up
there's-
there.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
man,
actually.
It's so many. There's so many that are going to be up there this
Yeah.
year. It's just that's one reason why I'm kind of disappointed that I'm not going, is because of the amount of Minecraft people that are going to be up there. I know Tib, you are going to be up there. Panda's going to be up there.
Yep.
Is Panda?
I'm rooming with Panda. So
yeah, you're rooming with Panda. That's what I was just thinking about.
And I'm actually driving. I'm going to pick up MC Gamer, and he's riding out with me.
Oh
so
yeah,
he lives about
I remember that live
an hour
stream.
away from me. So
I remember you offered in the
day,
chat of one of his live streams, and he was like, "Oh yeah, sure, that sounds like a good idea."
Yeah, he was going to take a train up, I think, and said, "Hey, I'm driving up. I go right past your place, man." So yeah, we ironed out the plans the other day, and that should be a lot of fun.
Cool.
It's better than riding up by myself, and he'll be on a train by himself, and it's boring.
Oh yeah,
that long of a
definitely.
drive.
I hate driving long distances by myself.
I actually I prefer it. I drive to DC every once in a while and it's about a 5-hour trip, and I rather have just myself in the car so I can jam out to whatever music I want to listen to, and maybe listen to a podcast on the way up without someone in the back seat complaining to turn my music down, or just switch the speakers up to the front of the car. If no one says that during the entire trip, I think I'd be fine. But almost every trip I've ever been on, someone always tells me, "Can you just move the speakers up to the front?" I'm just like, I don't want to do that. No, It sounds weird. But yeah, I mean, definitely I think I actually might change my opinion if it was, some random stranger from the Minecraft community. I guess they're not really a stranger, but you know who they are.
Yeah, I mean, you've talked to him enough, and I don't know. I really don't consider it a stranger, so
yeah, it's kind of weird.
Not really worried about it.
Even though you've never really met, I mean, it doesn't really, people that you interact with a lot online, they don't really feel like strangers. It's a really kind of cool, but also kind of weird phenomenon that we've had with the internet exploding the last 10 years.
Yeah, I was actually talking about this with my dad's girlfriend, and she was saying that, she doesn't believe that online interactions and online friendships can be valued nearly as highly as real-life interactions, which I somewhat agree with. But I was saying that, I have a lot of online friends that I would consider, pretty close friends. And she said, I don't see how that's even possible. She completely could not understand that concept. It was foreign to her, because I guess that's a younger generation versus older generation thing. I'm not really sure.
And Minecraft's a prime example of that. Mm-hmm. You look at them guys; they started off just talking to each other online, then they go to Minecon or some type of convention, meet each other, and they're like, it's like they've known each other for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how it is.
I was, arguing with her that, a lot of the preconceived notions that you get when, you're meeting people face to face for the first time, you don't really get that online. Like, I bet when it's interesting. And this was also brought up that you get a lot of, you kind of try to visualize a person when you can't see them, when you don't know what they look like. Like, I'm sure almost everyone here has thought, man, we have our own little, idea of what beef looks like. We never, and probably none of us have seen beef. I don't know, Tib, if you have.
No.
But yeah, but we probably all have a little picture in our head. Maybe we haven't really thought about it, but we've thought about, this person, and we kind of based it off of their Minecraft character, which is interesting.
Yeah. That's real funny, because I live stream with Facecam a lot now, and some people come on, they're like, my Minecraft character has a goatee. I don't have a goatee. So people were kind of shocked by that. They said, "You lie." What do you mean I lie? It's a Minecraft character. That's how he looks.
What is really scary was, and I was actually going to mention this to Meg the other day. Meg is, the Minecraft fan server local artist. She's drawn almost everyone on the fan server, and she drew me for one of the big collages of people, and it was kind of scary how close she was. And I showed it to my dad, and my dad was like, "Are you sure she's never seen you?" And I said, "Well, I sure as hell hope not, because if she has, then that's a little scary, because I haven't shown my picture to anyone."
Look out the window.
Yeah, just turn my head real quick.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because like I just remember Kurt was the first person that I was following in the Let's Play community back when he just started. I think I was one of his sub 10,000 subscribers, so I was around for when he finally showed his face on camera. So that was kind of like a, whoa, you look nothing like what you sound like. And
oh yeah,
you know, I've been doing my Let's Play stuff for, I guess, closing in on a year now, and I have yet to show my face to anyone anywhere. So, you know, just in this moment right now, I'm kind of thinking, I wonder what people think I look like based on my voice. Kind of a weird thought.
It's an interesting thought. Yeah, it's an interesting thought.
It really is.
Yeah, but people get to see me at PAX for sure, so come on out.
Yeah. This is one of the interesting are you gonna ask people not to upload your video or what you look like?
You know, I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah, that might be something to think about.
I actually probably do need to think about that, because there is actually a pretty good reason why I have not been showing myself. So
yeah, well, that might be something you think about. I have not. I don't really have an issue with uploading or showing people what I look like, and a lot of people in the Minecraft community actually do know what I look like. But I don't really have a reason. Like, I don't have a face cam. I don't have a webcam anywhere in my house that I could live stream with a face cam on. It's just it hasn't come up yet. I was thinking about doing a vlog for some time, but I just couldn't get around the idea of making it interesting besides just talking to I don't know. I find it's really weird. I find talking to a camera with my face so much harder than talking to a microphone while playing a video game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I thought about doing face cam before, or you know, just a vlog type thing. I just can't bring myself to stare at the camera.
Yeah,
like,
and
blame the controller does it so well.
Yeah,
he stares right at that thing, and his little facial expressions. I just can't do it.
Well, that's the thing.
When I do it, and I've tested this a few times. I've done a few. I did one during Thanksgiving, you know, because it was a special holiday sort of thing. And I did one during Christmas too. And each time I would catch myself like looking the other way and looking. Maybe like one time I did it while I was driving, and I was like, I couldn't do it. I could not look at the camera, even though you're not really supposed to when you're driving. But I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about there. It has a lot to do with the fact that when you're doing voice only, you're only focusing on your voice inflection. When you mix a camera into the mix, you got to think about your screen presence as well. So you're doing that in addition to the voice as well as the gameplay. So, I mean, I totally understand that. It's actually kind of funny, though, because I do have an HD webcam. I just never use it. I actually have, for OBS, for my live streaming, I have a scene set up for using a face cam. I've just never used it.
You should set it up so it just catches your fingers, and then you can like maybe even then you can just like draw a face on like your thumb or something.
I was actually thinking about like during the middle of a live stream, just like randomly flashing the face cam for 3 seconds. Just to see how people would react.
Just a real quick one.
Of course, someone's going to print screen and...
Yeah. What was that? Was that a face cam? I don't know what you're talking about.
It'll be on Reddit.
Yeah. But I am excited to see everyone's videos and their... just all the interesting stuff from PAX. Because I went to PAX, and it was probably one of the funnest times I've ever had, as you know, all my years of being a gamer. I just never felt more connected to everybody. Like it was really weird. My dad asked me when I was done with the whole experience, he asked me, how can you sit there in line for an hour and wait for a panel. And I said, because literally everyone there, just, you can turn to a complete stranger and say, so have you played the new Zelda game? And they'll just start talking with you, no matter who they are. I talked to people that I would normally never talk to, just at random. And, we struck up this conversation that would last us the whole trip from the back of the line to where we're trying to get to. And that was probably one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. So you guys are going to love it. I know that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited to be going there. I'm just I feel a little bit overwhelmed being that there's so much going on. I looked at the schedule. There's like 100 events each day.
Yeah,
how am I going to...
You got to pick and choose.
Narrow it down to what you want to see.
And I think...
How can I be so sure what I want to go see isn't going to be just overcrowded? It's not going to be worth going to.
One of the rules on the forum I remember I was reading about it was you're not going to see everything. So don't plan for that. Because if you try to see everything, you're going to miss stuff that you actually want to see.
You're going to have a bad time.
Yep.
I would try
I've been looking through the schedule
up.
Trying to figure it out.
I would go my first time, and I've never been to PAX. I've only been once. I've never been to it again. I've never been to the one in Boston, so I wouldn't know how much it's changed since I went, or how much different it is. But when I went, I spent way too much time at panels. I didn't spend enough time on the floor, and then by the end of the experience, I was rushing around trying to see everything, and most of the stuff had been, was over. Everyone, was done with it. So I felt like if I ever went again, that I would spend less time in panels, even though they were awesome. Most of the panels that I went to were great. I would spend less time in panels and more time on the floor and try to experience all the gaming and stuff. Definitely more the community side of it. I missed a lot of the community of it, and I felt like if I ever go again, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Is I'm not going to spend as much time as panels.
Yeah, honestly, I think I'm mostly going for more of the social aspect for it, if I have to be completely honest. I mean, I'm really looking forward to meeting a whole bunch of new people, meeting some people I've interacted online with but have never, physically met before, and also hanging out with my friend that's coming along with me. And I think it's going to be a blast. Of course, I also want to go for the video games, but I think it's going to be so much fun. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think that's the same for me. I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of people. A lot of the Minecrackers, a lot of people from fan server. There's even a couple people that I've gamed with in the past that I still keep in touch with that are going. So I'm going to look forward to meeting all them people.
That's really cool.
A lot of people from the Madhouse server going?
No, I'm the only one from the Madhouse, unfortunately.
Really?
Yep.
Well, represent hard then.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we should move into our next subject, which Tib brought up to us. What is the future of Minecraft? And Tib, since you brought this one up, I want to start with you. What do you think?
Well, I just think along the lines of, my YouTube channel is heavily based off a lot of Minecraft. I've been doing a lot of other games lately. Just because I want to keep a bigger diversity and try to steer, not away from Minecraft, but just put other content out because you don't know where Minecraft's going to go. I know with the modding community, it can stick around for a very long time, but how long is it really going to be there? When will Mojang eventually stop updating it and then just leave it up to modders to keep that going? So it's really hard to tell. You really don't know if it's ever going to die out or it may grow and get bigger. So it's just something that I've been thinking about trying, especially being a YouTuber, trying to get that out there.
Yeah.
My thoughts.
Go ahead.
My thoughts in this was the modding API. The modding API, they've been trying to work on it from what I've heard, and they've been, it requires almost a complete rewrite of the game's code to, implement that in from what I understand of the modding API. And I feel like when Mojang feels like they are done with Minecraft, when they just don't want to update anymore, they're going to leave it up to them. I feel like that is going to be that project. I feel like that is going to be the last song of Minecraft's official updates is going to be the modding API. So I'm kind of afraid to see the modding API coming in.
That's a really
because
good
if that
point.
Does
I have not really
does,
thought
I never
about
thought
that.
of it like that.
Then I feel like they're going to say, we've rewrote the game. We feel like it is complete. Here is your modding API. Do what you wish. And that's what I feel like. That's when Minecraft will die. Is when the modding API actually comes out.
But then again, on another note, if the modding API comes out, that is going to help a lot of the modding community make it better. So it may still excel. It's really hard to tell.
And
well, I mean,
I don't think
when I say
think that Mojang.
I mean,
I don't think they're going to say officially when they release the API, all right, we're done. I think what it'll be is they'll release it, and then they'll be like, well, the game's mostly complete at this point, so, I mean, we can probably get away with kind of tapering off now and doing less and less. So I think it'll be more along those lines, but yeah, it's really interesting that you brought that up, Tyler. I hadn't really thought of it in that context before.
Yeah, me
because
either.
Here's what, my thoughts are, is that when I see games like what is the game that Notch is working on, that OXC8, whatever it is,
Oh,
the
space programming one?
computers.
Yeah.
I feel like when that game, kicks into, I'm not even sure it's in full, like, super development mode. I feel like it's kind of a hobby project.
Like almost. A casual thing.
Yeah.
Like how Minecraft started off. And I feel like once, they're done with Minecraft, and if that game is not yet released, or if it is released, they're going to, push Jeb and Dinnerbone and, all the people that are working on Minecraft, to full production mode of that game. I don't really know when that's going to happen. I'm not sure if it's going to happen anytime soon, but that's at least my guess.
I think
I haven't heard much about that game recently.
No, I haven't either.
I really haven't been keeping up with Mojang's other projects, so
I really want to play Scrolls, and I wish they would come out like with the same thing they did with Minecraft, is that you pay for an alpha, and they'll give you all the. I guess they understood the flaw in that design really quickly, was all the updates afterwards, and considering that as a kind of a free to play game almost, I guess it really wouldn't work with Scrolls. But I really do want to play that game, and it's only in alpha, and I really want to play it. If you're listening, I want to play it. That's it.
That's right. The entire team is listening right now.
Yeah.
I think Minecraft is probably going to have a longer run on the PC than the Xbox. I bet you that something else is going to come along and dethrone Minecraft on Xbox after a while. Might not be for a year, might even be longer than that, but it's going to happen eventually. I think that Minecraft
I don't even see
on the PC
Minecraft on the Xbox as a big thing.
Oh, it's a huge thing right now.
Is it really?
Huge.
I don't even know.
It's a pretty big thing
is
with the 12 to 16-year-old crowd. So
I don't play Xbox, so I really don't know.
I haven't touched my Xbox in about 4 years, but
I have it on the Xbox, and I think when I was at the beach one time and it was nighttime and I had no internet, I think this was when I was like, I think this is the second recap that this came when I started doing this, was I played Minecraft on the Xbox for like a whole night, and it was so much fun. And I never touched it again. Never. I don't even remember the last time I even used my Xbox. So,
yeah.
Does the Xbox version even have like the end and the nether and everything?
I don't
added it.
I
like,
don't
recently.
know the answer to that. I do know that the Xbox version's been running off of the beta 1.7.3 build. So,
and the problem with the Xbox version to me is that there's like this. It's not unlimited. And so I remember, okay, the nether is definitely implemented, because when I remember playing it, the first thing I did was I tried to go into the nether to see what that looked like. And it was not, like, you get in there and there's this giant bedrock wall on the side of it. and you're like, oh well, that's kind of lame.
So
you
it's
know,
not
being
like
a
they're
being a
procedurally
PC
generated infinite.
Yeah, it's there's a limit to it, and you know, being a PC gamer that's used to going 10,000 blocks out, like seeing this giant obsidian or this giant bedrock wall was really disheartening.
Yeah, that's
I
the
wonder
thing.
how does that work on the Xbox? Is there a limit to that, or is that just infinite?
Yeah, it just it on in the overworld it just stops. Like there's this invisible wall.
Yeah,
and
just like on the
ocean,
mobile
so
version.
you can't really do anything.
I have-
And then on the in the Nether, it's just this giant bedrock wall.
Yeah.
So that's a big limitation right there.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been playing the game since the very early days. I either got into it in Inf Dev or in Dev. I can't remember which one, but I mean, that's the thing. The PC version is just so versatile for modding. It's more, I guess, grand overall, and the fact that it just kind of generates forever. I think that the PC version is going to be around a lot longer than the Xbox version, but Minecraft is eventually going to become less popular. I bet you it's not going to be for another possibly between 2 and 5 years from now, but it's eventually going to drop off in popularity. Something else is going to come along, and it's going to become the next big thing. But my prediction is that this game will always have a very dedicated core community of players who are going to be playing this game for a long time. So
Yeah,
I don't
and
think
Feed the Beast kind of just revitalized it.
Yes, it did. Very much so.
Yeah, it did.
So,
I feel like
Gave new life to the entire game.
yes, it did.
I feel like if Feed the Beast sticks around and you know that those guys keep doing their thing and you know supporting the mod makers and making it easier for people like me who are not very good at installing mods and you know running them without a nice pretty launcher, I think they're going to single-handedly keep the game running a little bit longer than it should have you know been. Those guys
Definitely.
are because I know they just added or they will be adding Terra Firma Crack to the launcher of Feed the Beast.
Yeah, and Terra Firma Crack is in the process of being updated right now. So as soon as he's pretty much rewriting the entire game, so once he rewrites it, they do have plans to release it to Feed the Beast launcher.
Oh no!
And,
I
you know,
just
that
started
was-
learning how to use Feed the Beast.
Well, no. Feed the Beast.
Well, Terra Firma Crack is completely different.
Yeah, it's almost like anti. I remember Pac was saying this when we were playing. It's like anti. It's like anti Feed the Beast. It makes everything harder to do. Like it takes so long to get nice. Like even a nice pickaxe takes forever.
I kind of felt like when we did our Terra Firma Craft series that it seemed like instead of advancing, I was going backwards. It's kind of how it felt, you know, because you had just trying to get your tools together, and it's not easy game at all.
I could see myself really enjoying that or being extremely frustrated. I don't think there's any middle ground there.
If you like a challenge, it is definitely a good game to play.
I might have to look at that.
This is how I knew that it was going to be hard for me. Was I was mining and they go, okay, so you got to be wary because if you mine this certain block, it might cave in our entire base and kill us all. And I'm like, what? How do I know which block? And they're like,
there's
don't worry, it's really
cave-ins?
easy. Yeah.
Okay, I have to play
gravity is in this game. So.
It makes the most eerie sound as well. You hear it start to crack. You hear like a little crackling. Then all of a sudden, it's just like a landslide sound. It's pretty crazy.
Oh man, I've got to play this.
It's terrifying. And there's getting like even iron in that game is like super high tier. You're talking. You've worked a while to get this iron. It's insane. It's a very fun. But with that being added to Feed the Beast, the launcher at least, I feel like that is going to, one, increase that mod's visibility. And two, it's going to it's going to improve that mod. Just the fact that it's going to make it easier to launch, is going to bring new people and new ideas to that mod, and is going to make it a lot better.
Oh yeah,
Yep,
absolutely.
definitely.
All
And,
right.
Thus driving Minecraft further.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and see, but I don't feel like mods are the only thing that are keeping Minecraft alive, though. I feel like this, constant development and this keeping the game fresh feeling, this, what was the thing they added that I thought was a very cool thing to add, was the day-night sensor. I don't know how to build a day-night sensor. I'm not a big redstone guy, but adding that into the game is going to make my experience of just vanilla Minecraft insanely, just all around better.
While I agree with you on that point, I will say that I'm a little disappointed that I won't be the only guy with a really efficient day-night sensor anymore. I use a design that's based entirely...
Me too.
Yeah, I use a design that's based entirely off of block updates and uses no pistons of any kind. So, yeah, it's gonna be sad when we have just a single block that's a day-night sensor. It gets rid of all that complex, glitchy buddy goodness. But I think it's for the best, and I'm really looking forward to incorporating that into some designs.
But along with that, they added this. Making this really complex thing that not many, that you had to kind of learn how to do, and then they added that block that like detects changes in the amount of
comparator.
Oh
the
yeah.
comparator, and that is going to add. I know, like, just already it's going to add so much new crazy features that they haven't even thought of. Just that one thing, and that's what Mojang does very well, is that they put in this one block, and it has, a million uses, and most of them they don't even see. They don't even foresee happening, and that's something incredible.
They added the weighted pressure plates, or whatever they're calling them, to where different levels of stacks of blocks, or a single block or a stack of block, will have a different effect on that pressure plate.
Yeah,
so I see probably a lot of interesting things come out of that.
Absolutely. I'm really looking forward to Minecraft 1.5. I think it's going to be the best update the game has seen since 1.7.3. And I think the things that I'm most looking forward to are that they're going to be trying to fix the lighting the lighting engine. That's definitely something that's high on my list of priorities. And I've complained about it before, that I really like the see-through the stairs light glitch, but I hate the black spots that come from Anvil. So I think the last that I heard, Jeb has come up with sort of a compromise way. Well, not that he really came up with it. It's kind of like a natural result of the work that they did to fix this. That those lighting glitches are going to stay in previously generated terrain, but the new terrain is going to have the new lighting engine, and everything's going to be fixed. So I think that's the best of both worlds. Because I really liked...
That's interesting.
Yeah, I really liked incorporating the lighting glitch features of the stairs into my builds, and I was afraid that I was going to lose those. But I get to keep those, and new terrain is going to be completely fixed. So that really kind of satisfies everyone. I think that is the best of both worlds there. Secondly, I was really afraid when I heard that they were trying to redo Redstone, or that they were going to be messing with it. I was really afraid for that, because I was thinking, Redstone is one of the coolest features of this game. It's one of the things that I enjoy the most about it. So if they do something like dumb it down for, the somewhat younger audience that has taken to playing the game in the last year or two, that would have probably caused me to be a little bit upset. But again, they've really surprised me. They've added so many good features. The comparator, the weighted pressure plates, redstone signals having different outputs. There is so much stuff that we're going to be able to do with this now. I'm really looking forward to messing around with this when the update comes out. I kind of take Brian Lorgon 111's approach to everything. try and keep myself spoiler free for the update as much as possible, so that I can just jump right in and mess with everything myself when it comes out. And I think the other thing that I'm really looking forward to with this update are the bug fixes, because as I understand it, there are going to be a lot of bug fixes. So that is something that definitely makes me really happy.
I'm really excited to see the water one, where you remove the water and there's like from an ocean block or something like that, and all the other water fixes it.
Yep.
That's the only thing.
Yep.
I'm not a big follower of the development cycle, and I notice a few things. I'm kind of like Good, where I notice one thing and I completely ignore another thing altogether. And the water thing is the only thing that besides the day-night sensor, that I really care about in this new update. But those two things,
I think everybody's been waiting for that, though.
Oh yeah,
those
since
two
classic
things are gonna make the game so much better for me.
No, that was one of the really frustrating things. Is that you're wandering around and you go, man, a deep lake would be really nice here, and then for the longest time we haven't been able to have any good way to fill in a lake that's deeper than one block, other than putting a layer and then digging it out underneath and all that good stuff. But
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to this new way the water's going to behave. It's a lot more like classic. If you ever played on classic version multiplayer servers, where you'd have someone put one source block way up high and it just floods the entire map. So at least it's not going to be doing that, but it is really nice that we're going to finally have an intelligent water filling in system.
Yeah, definitely. I'm looking forward to that as well.
Okay, I think we're kind of running out of time here. You want to jump into the questions?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that.
I think I read them last time, so you can read them this time. I like to hear your voice.
All right. All right. First question we have is, where do you think video games will be in 20 years? From Derpity Central. Tib, what do you think? Where will video games be in 20 years?
I was just reading an article the other day about what the average age of a gamer is nowadays, and it was 35, which kind of surprised me. But I guess a lot of the old school gamers they're still gaming, like such as us. I mean, I'm 27, so getting up there as well. I think it's going to be bigger. I really do. I think gaming is going to be a lot bigger, because it seems right now it's growing. There's a lot of cool games coming out that everybody's playing, so I think it's going to grow, and we're going to see continued growth with it.
Adding on to that was, I know I use this statistic all the time when I used to write argumentative papers on, violence in video games and stuff like that, was 95% of all American teenagers say they play video games. That's genderless. That's from I think it's, I don't know, the company that does represents all the video game companies in Washington. I can't remember who they are right now, but I know it's like 95%. And so if you think about that, just with teenagers in the last, 10 years, in 10 more years, that they're going to be, 20 year or 22, 23. They're just the amount of people that are going to be playing video games and buying into this market is going to increase, drastically. So, the amount of funding and the amount of research and innovation in the video game industry is going to increase proportionally to, match that.
Yeah,
I think
you mentioned the violence and everything too. The government's trying to crack down on violent video games and saying it's a problem, but
no, it's not going.
I'm not really sure that's going to go anywhere.
I have really strong views on that subject, so I'll just go ahead and quote the best study that I've been able to find that supports my position on it. It's I can't remember which university it was that did this study, but it was one of the Eastern Ivy League universities. They did this study where they had people play violent video games, non-violent video games, and they had them plugged up to machines to monitor the brain activity. And when you play video games, typically of a fantasy genre or some kind of violent first-person shooter or something like that, the areas of your brain that light up are exactly the same areas that light up in the area of a toddler's brain when they're being creative or using their imagination or pretending when they play. So the whole notion that, you play video games and it makes you a violent, angry person is complete garbage. When people play video games, subconsciously or consciously, it's in the same realm as make-believe when you're a kid. So to me, it's just ridiculous to say that playing video games or violent video games leads to violence. Now, an interesting part of that study was that games like FIFA, Madden, sports games generally make you into a very angry person. Not overall, but in the moment, those are the only genre of games where that make-believe boundary doesn't exist, really, which is very interesting.
You know what? I want to see the same study, but done with QWOP, and see how angry people get.
Oh my gosh, that game is...
But, like, I think, 20 years from now, I would like to think that video games are not going to become... I don't like the idea that it's going to be all peripheral based. Like, that we're going to have monitors on our head and, running around in circles trying to... I don't like that idea, mostly because I don't, they've been saying the same thing since the 70s, or the 80s with the Virtual Boy and stuff like that. It's just not going to happen.
And the best thing we've gotten so far is the Wiimote.
But what I do think is going to happen is I think it's going to, once, the entertainment industry, takes a deeper look at video games, I see this big marketing opening up for, big name actors and big name writers to, jump into video games and make the storytelling and the acting and just the overall, literature and just the overall experience of that being video games almost treated the same way as, fine art, like Shakespeare almost.
I hope so.
I feel like there's a golden age for every medium. There's a golden age for comic books. There's a golden age for movies. There's a golden age for music, and I feel like we haven't hit the golden age of video games yet. And I feel like in the next 20 years we could hit that, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
I'll go ahead and throw it out there. I'm totally okay with a Matrix-style plug-me-in virtual reality kind of thing. Temporarily.
That would be interesting.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
You know what I want to see in 20 years with gaming? I want to see Call of Duty use a different engine for their game.
Oh,
That's what I want to
yes.
see.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Tib, let's not talk fiction here.
But
In 20 years, we might get there.
yeah, one of the other things, and you were kind of touching on this earlier, Tyler, when you were saying, what was it, 95% of teens are playing video games right now? It seems to me, because I'm a 90s kid. I grew up in the 90s, so all my pop culture stuff comes from there. It seems to me that video games in the 90s was not as popularly accepted as it is now. Especially as you got older, it seemed like, it was expected that you grew out of video games at some point. That's just my impression.
Well,
I could be totally wrong.
Video games are the new cool thing,
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at here. It's like I'm 23
being a nerd
now.
nowadays actually pretty nice. You don't have that really bad experience where you're thrown into lockers with someone. But
and being 23, it's like you would think that at some point, if I had been 23 in the past, like in the early 90s or the mid 90s or whatever, it would have been kind of frowned upon. You still play video games? What's wrong with you? But now it's almost like people my age, if you don't play video games, it's kind of like, what's wrong with you? So it's
what do you do with your free
It's
time?
interesting. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of interesting. And gaming culture going so mainstream has been positive, but I think there's also been some aspects of it that have been kind of lost in the general kind of pub. I don't even know what I'm trying to say here. Just, the general cultural aspects of it across the board. With so many people doing it, you kind of lose a little bit of that identity as a community. But at the same time, I think it's great that, so many people are playing video games.
I will say this is how I know it's changing, is that my dad, he's kind of he's not really a boss of his work, but he does, manage over people. And so I know that this is changing mostly because, some of the older adults are seeing, their kids or, people that they know personally playing video games and seeing it as not really socially strange. And how I know this is because my dad's IT person at his work, really cool guy. He called in one day and he said, "I'm not gonna show up on Tuesday." And my dad asked why. He goes, "Well, Diablo 3 is coming out, and I really want to spend most of my time." And my dad was like, "Well, my son's getting that game too, and he's really excited for that. So, yeah, you know what? I totally understand that."
It's funny that you bring that up because our IT guy, he did the same thing. He called out for the release day of Diablo 3, and he played Diablo 3 all day. So
yeah, and like 10 years ago, if someone would have said that, it would have been fired on the spot.
Oh yeah,
done.
Yeah, that's like skipping a day, to catch the release of a book. And it's like, no, you can't do that. But now, everyone understands that these games aren't something that, I don't know. It does seem a little bit ridiculous, even to me. But you can understand it now, whereas 10 years ago it would have been totally, completely out there to even explain that to your boss.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I think we got to move on to our next question because we are definitely pushing the limits of our time here.
Oh, yeah, we are.
All right, so if you guys could live anywhere in the world and not have to pay rent or utilities, where would you live? I would probably live somewhere very cold because I hate the heat. Summertime is evil and makes my house all swampy. From person who said bacon ruins mac and cheese.
I know who that is.
All right.
I guess I'll start off with this one. You know
Okay.
what? I'm going to live exactly where I am right now in a nicer house.
All right, fair enough.
That's it. I love the climate and area that I'm in. That's it.
I would probably see. There's so many things you have to take into account when you're thinking about a place to live, like climate, culture, all kinds of other stuff. If I had to choose somewhere outside the United States, it would either be Australia or the Czech Republic. So I know that's kind of in left field, but those two countries are really awesome. They've got good laws, good government. Czech Republic, I think, is a little bit better than Australia, but don't get mad, Australian viewers. But the culture of those two places is really cool as well. But inside the United States, I would probably want to... I mean, this is going to sound really strange to people, but probably Idaho. And there's a reason for that. I have it on good authority from someone I know who's lived in Idaho before that it's actually a secret paradise. The weather is really temperate. Apparently, they actually don't get a lot of snow in some parts of Idaho, and it's like, partly cloudy all the time and between 50 and like 90 degrees year-round. Lots of fly fishing, lots of outdoors stuff. I'm kind of an outdoors guy. So, to me, I think that would be a cool place to live. It's a little bit...
I imagine you saying that, and then, someone goes into Idaho and they push back a few branches and trees and stuff, and suddenly there's a beach with palm trees and geckos running across the ground. And I don't know. That's just what I thought when you said secret paradise. It's just
perhaps a secret paradise for me.
Well, I think mine would probably be, I would either go to the Outer Banks or to Hilton Head, because I've taken some vacations down there. We took, I think, 2 or 3 vacations down Outer Banks. Me and my wife love it down there. We took one to Hilton Head too, and Hilton Head was really, really nice as well. So that would probably be my 2 choices.
Oh, I love the beach in North Carolina. Just they're beautiful, anywhere on the beach is just incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from Virginia, so I'm real close to North Carolina, and I've traveled all over North Carolina, but I've actually never been to the Outer Banks.
Oh, you need to go.
It's nice on the Outer Banks.
It's kind of embarrassing to admit that because I've been so many places, all over North America and Europe. I've never been to the Outer Banks, and it's like right next to home. So,
yeah.
Well,
that's
there's a lot to do down there too.
That's like people that live in Paris. Never been to all the the Eiffel Tower and stuff like that. They just don't care because they're so close to it. It's like, well, we could do it anytime.
Yeah. All right. Question number 3. Final question for this podcast. How did you guys come up with your names? From Bob Ringard. And I guess I'll go ahead and start with this one. The name that I go by online, of course, is SkinFan13, and it's pretty boring. I was 13 at the time that I came up with that handle. I've used it online quite a bit. I'm a Redskins fan, a Washington Redskins fan, so yeah, pretty boring.
Yeah. All right, I guess I'll go. Mine is basically when I was 17, I got a Hyundai Tiburon car, and I was real big into tuning imports, and hopping them all up and putting all this money into them. So basically Tib, tuner, and then it was an 04 Tiburon. So that's where mine comes from. Very simple, but normally people call me Tib Turner because they can't read, but
oh, that's funny.
Mine is actually me being an idiot and not really understanding humor. So when Halo, the original Halo came out, my friend had the handle of Kill You, and that was it. This before, of course, Halo wasn't online at the time, so you could whatever name you wanted without having the stupid numbers in. So whenever you would kill him in the game, it would say, blank kill you. And it was, at the time, that is incredibly stupid. But I decided to up the stupid factor with you is dead. So it would be me and him running around shooting each other with pistols, and it'd be kill you, killed, you is dead. You is dead, killed, kill you.
Oh,
and
man.
So it was the most incredibly stupid thing.
Yeah, you're giving me flashbacks to our Halo LAN parties and some of the stupid names we had. Like,
so
one of them was...
I created that.
Go ahead.
And I added on 99, not because of my age. I was not born in 1999. It was because I was born in September on the 9th.
Oh, okay.
So 9/9, and of course I was born in 1992. So
yeah, I think that's funny that
9.
People look at numbers on the end of somebody's handle and they automatically think that's the year they were born. It happens all the time.
Oh,
I get that a lot online. Is they just assume that was born in 1999, which kind of sucks.
SkinFan13. I haven't reached my first birthday yet, so.
You're from the future.
I come from a world you may not understand.
You're like the parent that creates the Facebook account for their child.
Oh gosh.
Except he went forward and just created all these different accounts for his at 13.
It's just kind of funny though, mentioning the Halo stuff. I just got a whole bunch of flashbacks to our Halo LAN parties where we played Halo all night. And some of the stupid names we came up with, like who was it? Well, the person's irrelevant for the podcast purposes, but he came up with the name A Fart. So whenever you were killed, it'd always be like, you were killed by a fart. Oh, gosh. To be a teenager again.
Yeah.
Well, when the original Halo came out, we would run around and just the stupidest names we could come up with. And at the time, I guess we thought it was hilarious with these names that, even at the time, thinking back on it now, didn't really make sense. But I stuck with it. Mostly because it's too hard to change your name about, 5 years into your gaming lifestyle.
Yeah,
definitely.
it's kind of
why mine's still the same.
Yeah, same here. The reason I chose it for my Let's Play stuff is because it's my Minecraft username, and I didn't feel like spending extra money after I paid only $5 in alpha. But I kind of wish that I had gone with the name that I actually used for our Halo stuff, because my Xbox handle was Redscam, RADSCAM, and that always perplexed people. They're always like, "Huh, that's weird. Does it have any meaning?" It's like, no. Everybody always said that it sounded really original, was pretty cool, and that was actually my Xbox Live handle for a long time until I stopped handing money over to Microsoft.
I'm so bad with usernames, so I think my idiocracy at a young age was the best that I could do, and is the best I could do now. Because as you can see with my Reddit name, new to this,
yeah.
I didn't really try. I just wanted to go.
Yeah, I kind of wish I'd chosen a different name for this stuff, but it's stuck for so long now, and all my accounts have it. It would just be such a pain to change.
Yeah, it's so hard to change something you've had for so long.
Yeah.
Have you guys, not to drag on this podcast any longer, but I do want to bring this up, is the new Xbox, you can't really choose a username now. It kind of gives you one, and then you can change it later. Yeah.
I didn't hear
My
that.
friend
That's
signed up for
crazy.
a new Xbox Live account, and he got the name Wary Conch.
What? Okay,
Yeah,
that is really strange. So are you saying that if I went back and resubscribed to Xbox Live, not that I would ever do such a terrible thing, but I wouldn't get my old gamer tag back?
Yeah, if you signed up with a completely brand new Xbox, it gives you a username, and then if you really don't like that, you can change it later.
You have to spend the points to change it? Because I know previously Microsoft, you'd have to spend points to change your username.
I'm not really sure. He got the name and then immediately said, well, that is incredibly stupid, but kind of funny, so I'm going to keep it. And we never... Because now he just runs around screaming, the conch is going to get you. And we just laugh, and it's stupid.
Yeah.
So I don't really know how it works, but I know that he didn't really accept that name. It was just kind of like he paid for the Xbox Live, and it was just like, well, here's your name. Have fun.
Here you are. This is who you are now.
I guess it was too many people making XX420 Weed Killer or something like that.
360 no scope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess Xbox Live just got tired of it and was like, we're going to name you stupid things. Have fun.
And you're going to like it.
Mm-hmm.
That seems to be Microsoft's attitude with everything. This is what you want, and you're just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah.
Well, this has been the somewhat underrated podcast with our guest, Tib. I want to thank you for joining us today, Tib, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Great having you on. It. And we will be back every Wednesday. Maybe. We'll try. And if you would like to leave comments or questions for next week's podcast, please do it in the comments below the page. And do we have a form set up for the...
We do. That's actually where I pulled today's comments from. And I have a bunch queued up for next time. So we're getting submissions. So
is that in the description?
Yes, it is. And I think what we're going to be doing is we're going to be featuring... What's that?
I'm so bad with this. I'm really bad.
I think we're going to be featuring 2 or 3 questions each episode, so just keep them coming. Yeah? We'll keep featuring you guys.
Well,
alrighty.
Thanks for listening. Have a good day. I'm going to come up with a sign-off eventually. I think that'll be it.
See ya.
Have a good day, everyone.